Letting go. What is letting go? We carry so much pain. At a certain point in my process, I realized humans carry so much pain. And we generally hold on to it, deny it, cover it under a lid. We don't acknowledge or admit to ourselves the fact we carry so much pain. And we don't do anything about that pain. We just hold it in. And we have so much of it. We have so much of it. And it causes us a lot of suffering because then we live our lives trying to manage our pain. We live our lives trying to sift through it, trying to avoid it being triggered or having it be triggered and then living reactively from that pain being triggered. For example, if I have a pain, if I have a wound because I felt that, let's say my father didn't love me, and I felt that and that hurt. Then now as I walk around and if I haven't let go of that wound, if I'm still carrying that emotional energy of pain, then when I'm walking around with that wound, I'm susceptible, particularly to any man and anything a man would say about me, I would feel hurt in that way. I would feel pain. And I would usually feel the pain exactly where I felt the pain with my father. So if I carry such a wound, immediately anybody says something to me, especially a guy, I would feel it and it would hurt. And so I would be really afraid of guys or of being judged or said mean things to by guys. And B, I will try to impress them. Why? Because when I impress them, then they don't judge me. Then I avoid that pain being triggered. So I then will end up putting so much effort, so much effort into not being triggered, into worrying and fearing being triggered, and to worrying and fearing being hurt by somebody, being said mean things by a guy, and into impressing men so that I don't experience that. So much effort will I put. So this is why it's just one example of so many I could give of why letting go is so important. In the process, we have to let go of our pain. Sometimes we adopt spirituality, and I see that, and we start trying to think positively or adopt spiritual beliefs. But when it really comes down to it, we're not embodied. Our way of living, our spiritual way of living is not embodied, it's conceptual because we're still in denial of the pain we carry. And that pain ends up ruling our lives, whether we liked it or not, whether we adopted spiritual sounding beliefs or not. That pain rules our lives. We could tell some stories of, I don't care what men say about me. Let's take that example. I don't care what they say about me. But then if it comes down to it and they say something and I feel hurt, then I'm just lying to myself. Or if I'm living in such a way that shows that I care because I'm trying to impress and I'm trying to avoid anything that would trigger that pain, that hurt, then I'm kidding myself. And my way was so good at denying that truth for myself, we may not notice we're doing it. It's so under the wraps. And this is where letting go comes to it. If we really are in the spiritual path, we really truly are, we're going to practice letting go of our emotions. We're going to work on that. We're going to process them. Because when we process our emotions, our emotional pains, now we're free. So let's take that example. Let's say I feel hurt, I have some pain from my dad, and I carry it and I want to impress guys to have that not being triggered. I want to avoid being judged by guys to have that not be triggered. Well, if I release that pain, if I meet that pain inside me in that wound of I'm not good enough and I feel hurt and I'm not loved by a man, and I process it, I integrate it, I change how it feels. It's not just how I think about it. That's shallow. I change how it feels. I change how I feel about it. Now, when I walk out and I'm going to be in the company of men, I'm not going to be concerned about what they think of me Because I don't have any pain that would be triggered if they think anything bad. So now they think anything bad, I don't have anything triggered. I feel great. You could feel bad things. So what? Who gives a fuck? You people think bad things. I also don't care if they think positive things. Because that doesn't do anything for me. I don't need that validation. So I'm like, thank you. And I love myself. So thank you. I feel great. I love myself. So it doesn't elevate me. If they praise me, it doesn't bring me down. They say something negative because I fundamentally healed that wound. It's not about telling myself a story. This doesn't bother me, or no, it's feeling that way. That's the difference. I feel that way. Okay. When you let go, you feel it. You don't think about it. You feel it. So that's letting go, when you carry so much pain and then you let it go. You don't need to navigate life so heavily. You don't need to be so precarious. I work with a woman and she carried a lot of emotional pain. She let a lot of it go, a lot of grief go. I could feel and she could feel. And then when she let those go, she was free. Because her whole life she was managing. Her whole life she was managing that pain, trying to avoid it, trying to walk in this narrow path where she doesn't feel pain, but that's a limiting path. She wasn't free. And then she let it go. She became free. She was always free. She was just not free because she wasn't feeling that emotion, or she was so obsessed with not feeling that emotion. She was living like she's not free because she wasn't free as long as she was avoiding it. And then when she finally felt it and let it go and mustered up that courage, and then she let it go, and step by step, wow, what freedom she had, what power she had, all by just letting the emotion go. Wow. So think on these things. That's what I wish for you. Have that letting go. And if you want to share in the comments, like what's one thing, one pattern, one thing you'd like to let go of, you're welcome to share below. I love you. May you let go of anything that brings you down, that takes you away from your inspiration and your spirit and your love, and so that you could be free. Amen.